And so this is a way that you could begin to see and prove directly to yourself that these things are true. You could have people hide things in this room like this and find them immediately. And you build confidence between you and your lower self, and you begin to see this happening. It can be used in many, 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 many different ways. I could go on and on all of that, but even without dowsing rods, you can begin to use your intuition, where you believe that something is true and something's going to happen, and allow it to come up. Trust yourself. Allow it to begin to come out. And this allows the connection, the communication to begin to take place between you and the lower self, between the whole planet. And the more that communication takes up, the more the planet wants to communicate with you. Mother Earth loves you, really, really loves you, and wants you to open up. But you have to allow it. There's free will here. You don't have to. You could stay locked in your world forever. But if you can allow it, if you'll open it up, think of the possibility that there might be something more to this world than just driving around in cars and putting money in a bank account. There might be something that's maybe more interesting than that. And you begin to explore the human potential. And the human potential is vast. And it leads into worlds and into places that right now you can't really imagine. But you've got to start somewhere. And the beginning is starting with being childlike, innocent, being like a baby. And I really think that this is what Jesus meant when he said, "Lest ye become like children, you will not enter into the kingdom of heaven." I now think that he meant that literally, absolutely literally, that without the childlike innocence, you're simply not going to get into heaven and go into the higher dimensional levels. So there are many. I want to cover one more area of this. In terms of opening up and beginning the process, there are now many levels of therapy that are out there that have been developed in the last few years that are really, really good. And when you go back to Freudian type thoughts that kind of, begin to see the connection between the physical body and the emotional and mental, and then going into people who, like Wilhelm Reich, who took this way to a much deeper level than Freud ever dreamed of, and through Wilhelm Reich, who began to see that things that happen in your childhood are buried in your muscles and in the constriction of your electrical circuits, and out here around you in your crystalline fields and everything else in your aura. And that these patterns are so painful that we don't want to experience them, so we bury them. This gave rise to Fitz Pearl and a lot of the work that he did in psychodrama, where you can begin to release these through directly getting into these experiences. And Ida Rolf, who said, well, let's go directly into the muscles and find them there and work in those kinds of ways. And Mary's people began to work deeper and deeper until finally hypnotherapy came forth. And hypnotherapy has become an awesome tool in all of this. What used to take 10, 15, 20 years can now be done in 3 or 4 sessions, in 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. Things that, and without pain, and very, very quickly, can be released. There are many, many things within a human being that the average human being is not aware of that is blocking them from being able to open up to their inner child and to allow the sensitivity to the reality to return. There are actual living forces inside of many people called entities that have been there for sometimes thousands and thousands of years, many times all the way back into Atlantis. And these entities need to be released. Hypnotherapy can move through these things very, very quickly. There are many things that have happened in your past lives, such as being stabbed or shot or hands cut off or heads cut off or raped or murdered or humiliated, and all these kinds of things that can be sensed very, very quickly and can be got directly to and released. Just let go of. There are ways now that this can take place. And there are ways to now get into the patterns of between conception and 12 years old, which is where many of your blockages are now taking place, that used to take so long to work through, that can now be worked through in hours by many people who are trained in these areas. There are ways of even reaching into the future to begin to connect with patterns that are going to happen in you, that haven't even developed yet, but the roots the seeds have already been in there and can be traced down. And if these kinds of things can be worked through first, if you can get rid of all the entities and all these kinds of things of your past life and clear this stuff out so you can be clear within yourself, it is from this point that the inner child can be released most easily. Otherwise, you're going to have aspects within you, you're going to have walls and things that will simply stop you, that just won't allow you to. You'll just say, oh no, I can't do that, and walk away. You won't know. And so, I guess, really, the beginning is healing. This is where the real place begins, of healing your body, both physically, emotionally, and mentally, on those kinds of levels. And to work through all this kinds of stuff. It may feel like you're backtracking, but if you don't get through those kinds of things first, it would be very difficult to allow the inner child to come forth. And then there are now many people who are trained specifically on exactly that one thing of how to get the inner child out, and to begin that growth process within you. And so you may again use your intuition and allow yourself to be brought into and allow these healers to be brought to you to help you to begin in those kinds of ways. There's so much available right now. There's so many ways of healing. There's so many people that have training that is extraordinary, that if you really have the desire to return to God and to open up into a new way, it's all there. You can find it. You've got to have the will and the desire to do it. But it's all there. You just have to do it. You just have to go out there and begin the work. And have the courage to find out who you really are.